Hi everyone, welcome back to Roundtable Talks. I'm here with James Li. James, thanks for joining.
Thank you, David, for having me.
James, 10 years in the business, doing very well, been successful. What do you find is the biggest challenge facing you personally or the industry in general right now?
Currently, I think that with the industry, I think everyone's all feeling the interest rate increase. Not only that, is that a lot of my clients who are tenants, they're looking for new places because they have to stop their plan of buying a new condo or buying a home. Given that, they would have to rent another year. However, the rates have been increasing and so has the housing prices. And I think that the Canadian policies on immigration have a lot to do with it. Central banks have a lot to do with it. So right now, I'm seeing a lot of, especially with my seller and buyers, is that it's difficult to sell because prices are going down. They're getting much less than what they paid for in terms of the house value. And second is that even as the price decreases, it has not decreased to the point where my clients are comfortable paying a 7% increase on interest rates.
So did you find a lot of your buyer clients are hesitant to enter the market at this moment in time?
Yes, they're very hesitant because they feel like there's still not a lot of supply. Because I think that, because I work both sides, I work both sellers and buyers. So the sellers, if the prices aren't good for them, they're not willing to sell unless they immediately need to sell.
Right.
But given that even if they need to sell, they won't get the value they want. And if they need to sell, it may not sell fast enough or low enough for my buyers to be considering it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what has happened over the years is that there was a lot of movement in the market based on low interest rates and, price appreciation allowed sellers to upgrade their home on every 2 or 3 years. With the stagnant pricing, now higher interest rates, sellers, not to say that they're going to lose their home. I think most people are still relatively okay if they locked into rates from 5 years ago or 3 years ago. But I think overall, I agree with you. You're just finding a stagnant market where everything just seems to be coming to a crawl at this moment in time. Saying that, where do you think the market will be next year or the year after?
I think that it will get worse before it gets good. In that sense, is that the opportunity will definitely be available for buyers because I think that if, as you just said, if they locked in a couple of years ago, it was great. But if you're looking at like a fluctuating rate, we don't know where it's going to go. The Bank of Canada has said that there won't be any more overnight increases for the rest of the year. But that's not to say that they won't increase next year if it doesn't stop. And I think that putting a lot of pressure onto sellers, I think the sellers are going to get hit the most. And I think that recently that was one of the challenges that the government wanted to do. They wanted to make Canadian housing more affordable.
Right.
And I think that in this is that there is a no-win situation. There will be a heavy hit on the sellers. So for me at the current moment, I think that if my sellers are able to hold out a bit longer, maybe perhaps like the year after the next year, I think things will get better because once again, rates won't always stay the same. Like rates have to adjust to the market.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what I personally believe is that a rate increase is not the end-all be-all to fix the affordability in this country. We have increased immigration and we have lack of supply that is playing a huge role into people getting into either a home or a rental. As far as your business is concerned now, James, you don't just do resale. I know that you are successful in selling pre-construction as well. How are you finding that market at the moment?
That market has also been very relatively difficult as the time goes on because right now, I think that looking at it from a builder's perspective, they purchased the land at a higher price. The price has appreciated, and of course, so has the building costs. And given that price has to be reflected onto the sheets. And I think that with a downtrend in pricing, the pre-con construction has still been staying up because the value of the land and the building costs are already applied to the builders.
Yeah.
So for pre-con, I think that for those who are lucky enough to be able to purchase, pre-construction, I think it's a good long-term investment. It's just right now in the short term, it could also be short-term, a good investment because by the time the rates may have like gone down, the property may have already gone up. So that's also something that's considered.
Yeah, because you're actually buying 4 years out, so you could be in a position where you're right. You know, you're buying in today's value because they can't really drop the pricing based on cost of land, cost of construction. But if rates are in the future look to be decreasing, that may bode well for the investor that's buying today or the end user that wants to live in that specific location in that specific building 4 years from now. James, what advice, like I said, 10 years in the business, what advice would you give someone that is looking to pursue a career in real estate? I mean, obviously similar to what you've experienced in the last 10 years. What sort of advice would you give someone?
The best advice that a best lesson I've learned is to involve myself with my hobbies, involve real estate into my hobbies. And, real estate is a very, very social business. You're there meeting clients, you're meeting people, and one thing that would give you the motivation to get up is to go do as many activities as you currently have that you like.
Well, like you for golf, for that matter.
Yeah, the funny thing is I only gone to golf in the last 3 years, but since I discovered it, it has helped my business tremendously because I met a lot of mentors, a lot of friends through the golfing circle, and given that is that now all my business, all my clients, a huge majority of them has been clients because of golf.
Right.
That I've met through golf. So for me, I've never had to sell them on anything. The real estate market, does a lot of the work. Sometimes they're starting a family, sometimes they're buying a house for their kids. And, real estate's also, if they like you, they will work with you, they will give you the chance, And that's great because it doesn't feel like you're working, because to you as an agent, you feel like you owe them a responsibility, not only as your client, but as your friend. Right. And that in itself is also very, very motivating for you to work. So you don't feel like I work at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think in real estate, I just wanted to touch on a little bit is that, it's all relationship building, and you're using outside activities that you enjoy to build those relationships. Because let's be honest, if you're just focused 100% real estate and you're working this 16 hours a day, it could become lonely and it could become tiring after a while. So why not incorporate some of the activities that you enjoy to still generate business out of it?
Indeed.
James, what do you think most people misunderstand about our industry, our field?
The most common one, people think that we're just overpaid door openers, but I disagree because I think that as a real estate agent, you deal with people all the time. A lot of professions, you don't deal with people at all, so they don't really understand the psychology. The reason why that's why when we want something, we always hire a professional to help us guide us. A lot of self-help is a little different. Most people do not have the discipline to, help themselves, and they don't also have the time to continuously seek a property or understand them as well as they think they do. Because, for example, a client would give me criteria of what they want, and then you could show them the perfect house and not want to buy, or they were hesitant because even if they find a perfect house, they may try to think about, what's they would find one negative thing, and they would just fixate on that negative, which would make them lose out on the house. So it could be something with the flooring, something with the price. Everything could be fixed. And the thing is that I said previously, I don't look at it as a transactional business. I think of it as a relationship business, and as I put myself as a role of my friend. Sometimes you need your friend to tell you, hey, look, consider this really carefully. Like, this house has everything you want. This is something that can be fixed. And I don't think that this is something that you fixate on, right? Or sometimes they will fall in love with a house that may be bad. For example, they won't notice about perhaps in the state community, a lot of feng shui, a lot of superstition in this neighborhood, that you may not want to buy a house that would not reflect the ideals of the community, even though the interior of the house or the exterior of the house is very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's always something to keep in mind. And as someone who is in this field, I'm constantly updated with what's going on in the market. I'm most always updated with the current cultural norms and the demographics, and then helping my clients not only find a home, but that home may be their biggest investment for the next, for their life. So you have to help them make decisions that they otherwise wouldn't be able to make.
Well, and that's the thing, right? You're using your experience, your expertise in order to service your clients. But I do like the fact that you said that you're not transactional. You're more on the relationship side, which proves why you've been successful over the last 10 years. I think some agents that just go transactional, I believe at some point they hit a wall and their business dwindles. On the lighter side of things, James, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Of all time, that's very difficult. I'm a huge movie buff, so I can't really pinpoint one. But
okay, let's break down the the genres. How about comedy?
Comedy.
If you like comedy.
I really like Superbad.
Yeah.
I think if I really think down on it, I think Lord of the Rings: Return of the King has been my favorite.
Yeah.
That one.
Excellent.
Cinematically, the writing and just the feeling you get from watching that movie.
Right.
I think that they did a great job, and I think that it really immerses you in that time period, even though it's not very fictional.
Yeah, I agree. That was a great movie. Where do you see yourself, James, next year, the year after?
I hope that I build a team, because I think that, as you said, I've had some successes in my last decade of my career, and I think that some of my friends who are junior agents kind of see that, and they perhaps want to work with me and take a mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the next step I want to take, because I think that I've always kind of done things solo, and I think that being able to share some of my burden and my experience to others is my way of passing on my own skills
right.
to others. And I think we said earlier too, I think that it's a great way to perhaps become more responsible. And I think that responsibility changes us as humans, and that's the only way we grow. I think it's a great quote that I may be butchering it, but they say is that great men are great because of the capacity and responsibility that they can bear.
Very good.
So I think that perhaps it's time for me to
expand.
To expand to that level.
Yeah, and I would think when we first spoke before you joined here, that was one of your goals, was to eventually build out a team, and I think should be the goal of a lot of agents that have been in the business for a long period of time and have had success and have had a blueprint for that success, that they can pass that on to the next generation of agents coming up that want to work under you, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're doing that right now, so it's excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. James, I want to thank you for joining us today. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this segment. Remember to hit like and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, enjoy your day.
Thank you so much.